The movie begins in a conference room where high-ranking military officials from both North and South Korea have gathered to discuss a crucial moment in their country's history. Their main topic is the surrender of a powerful nuclear warhead, secretly developed in an underground facility. This warhead, a result of covert cooperation between the two Koreas, is now facing pressure from the international community to be handed over. Among the attendees at the meeting is Major Kang Min-gil, a North Korean officer. He feels frustrated about the decision to give up such an important symbol of power. However, his concerns are dismissed by his superior, who scolds him and continues the discussion about the handover process. Later, Kim Soo-yeon, a scientist involved in the creation of the nuclear warhead, sees a news report on television about a massive comet that will pass through the solar system once every 433 years, traveling at incredible speed. The news anchor assures viewers that experts believe it poses no threat to Earth. On the other hand, feeling frustrated, Major Kang makes the bold decision to steal the nuclear weapon stored in the bunker. To do this, he takes some of his soldiers and captures Dr. Kim, planning to use her to gain secret access to the bunker. Just then, alarms begin to blare. In response, the leaders of both sides send a South Korean Special Forces team, led by Major Park Jung-woo. The platoon intercepts Major Kang's group in the middle of a river and demands their surrender. As they aim their guns at each other, the massive, bright comet streaks across the sky, producing a tremendous noise. This loud sound leads both teams to mistakenly believe they are under attack, igniting a fierce gunfight. As the comet continues its passage, a sudden force causes the boat to vanish, leaving the soldiers on board crying out in anguish. As the team regains consciousness, they find themselves on a battlefield where people are fighting with traditional weapons such as arrows and swords. When the men approach the soldiers with the intent to attack, one soldier fires his pistol at an attacker, while another throws a grenade that causes a loud explosion. Seeing this, the leader of a group commands his men to capture the modern soldiers and threatens to behead them. Just as the men charge forward, their leader is shot in the ear, forcing them to retreat. This turn of events leads the local villagers to gather around the soldiers, calling them heavenly soldiers due to their remarkable abilities. That night, as they take shelter in a cave, the battle between the two groups continues. Major Park blames Kang for the chaos, leading to a heated argument between them. Just then, Dr. Kim steps in, urging them to focus on the more pressing issue of figuring out where they are, how to return to their own time, and finding the nuclear weapon, which remains a mystery to them. Feeling a sense of responsibility, Major Kang takes it upon himself to search for the nuclear weapon. Unbeknownst to them, their conversation is being overheard by someone nearby. Meanwhile, the leader who was shot in the ear faces a reprimand from his superior for fleeing the battlefield. He attempts to explain that the soldiers they encountered had equipment he had never seen before. In response, the supervisor hands him another weapon, urging him to rejoin the fight. Back in the cave, as the soldiers drift off to sleep, the person who overheard their conversation tries to steal their weapons. However, he also arranges the soldiers to sleep comfortably, which leads one of them to catch him in the act. The thief then makes a run for it, prompting the soldiers to chase after him. In the next morning, the spy quickly contacts the village, accusing the soldiers of looting him. They are then reported to the village chief of the community. The village chief demands to know their identities and the spy introduces himself as Yi Sun-shin, a man who left home after failing a military exam. As local villagers, including the two soldiers disguised as commoners, watch from a distance, they recognize the thief as the legendary admiral who would later play a crucial role in defeating the Japanese invasion. As the chief inspector investigates the soldiers, he discovers a grenade among one of the soldiers' belongings. Mistaking it for a metal ball, he removes the pin, causing panic among the soldiers. Fearing an explosion, they reluctantly accept the accusations against them. As a result, they are thrown into jail. After the confrontation on the ground, one of the soldiers asks a local about the time period they are in. The local explains that they are living in the age of the Joseon dynasty and shares some facts about the king. From this information, they realize they are in the year 1572. Dr. Kim confirms this by subtracting 1572 from 2005, which equals 43, the comet cycle. Later that night, a soldier goes to free the others from jail, along with Yi Sun-shin. They capture him and question him about the weapons he stole. He claims he has already thrown them into the river. As Major Kang gets ready to punish him, Major Park arrives and seeks confirmation about whether the spy is indeed General Yi Sun-shin, who famously defeated the Japanese invasion. He asks about Sun-shin's family name and poses a few other questions to verify his identity. Once verified, he shares this information with the team. However, the team's doubts about Sun-shin's behavior lead them to question his identity. While they debate, Sun-shin manages to escape and heads towards his home. Fortunately, one of the soldiers catches sight of the direction he is running. The next morning, the team arrives at Sun-shin's home and explains their plan to stay with him, as they believe the caves may be too dangerous. Major Park then begins training Sun-shin, who is puzzled by their actions and asks why they are teaching him. Major Park simply states that it is to help him pass the military exam. However, Sun-shin responds that after 7 years of preparation, he failed the test and does not want to go through it again. Frustrated, he then walks away. Later, Dr. Kim tries to persuade Major Park not to interfere in Sun-shin's life or change history, but he ignores her advice. Major Park starts treating Sun-shin with respect and concern. Meanwhile, Sun-shin attempts to use the stolen weapons but, lacking knowledge, decides to bury them in the woods. A peasant girl sees him and, in order to keep her quiet, he bribes her with a chocolate bar, asking her to stay away from that area. Concurrently, Major Kang's team is busy mapping the local region and continues their search for the nuclear weapon. Elsewhere, the leader, who was shot in the ear, is from the Jurchen community and sends his men to spy on the modern soldiers. While on their mission, they come across the peasant girl who retrieves a handgun in the woods. Later that night, Dr. Kim is taking a bath in a river when 3 soldiers try to sneak a peek at her. Just then, Sun-shin arrives and starts talking to the soldiers hiding behind the rocks. Unaware that Dr. Kim is in the river, he tries to relieve himself there. When she sees him, Dr. Kim throws a stone at him, injuring him. At their shelter, Major Park and Dr. Kim treat Sun-shin's injury. As soon as he wakes up, he quickly gets up and leaves, with Dr. Kim following him. They start talking and quickly develop a strong bond. One afternoon, Dr. Kim excitedly gathers everyone to share her findings about the comet. She explains that the last time it passed close to Earth was in the year 1139, which is why they were sent back to 1572, exactly 433 years earlier than their present time. If they follow the lunar calendar pattern, the next comet will pass in 4 days, meaning they could return home. The only issue is that she does not know where the comet will appear but assures the soldiers that she will soon find out the way. At night, Major Park sees his soldiers going through Sun-shin's belongings and discovers many plant roots, realizing that Sun-shin is just a lowly smuggler. Major Park decides to burn all his items. He then confronts Sun-shin, urging him to take charge of his future and fulfill his duties to the nation. Angered by their treatment, Sun-shin punches Major Park. Despite this, Major Park insists he should pass the military test, but Sun-shin retorts that he does not matter to anyone and storms off. Major Park sends a soldier to follow him. The soldier sits down with Sun-shin, and they begin to chat. He even pretends to read Sun-shin's palm, telling about his future. Sun-shin laughs, not believing the soldier's claims. As the soldier attempts to reveal the whole truth to Sun-shin, an arrow suddenly strikes him in the neck. He falls while trying to shield Sun-shin from another arrow. In no time, Jurchen soldiers swiftly surround and capture Sun-shin. They take Sun-shin to their camp and torture him to extract information about the modern soldiers and their weapons. Sun-shin replies that he is just as eager to learn about them. The Jurchen try to intimidate him by showing the head of the soldier they killed with an arrow. However, he still remains silent, so they bring in the peasant girl and threaten her life. Sun-shin sets a condition that if they let the girl go, he will lead them to the modern soldiers. They let the girl escape the camp, but they eventually shoot her with an arrow. At midnight, Major Kang and his team arrive to find the nuclear weapon and rescue Sun-shin. As the soldiers grab the weapon and exit the camp, the commander's son spots them and tries to attack. However, the soldiers' quick reflexes save him, resulting in the death of the commander's son. The soldiers return with the nuclear weapon, Sun-shin, and the body of the peasant girl. Sun-shin mourns the loss of the innocent girl, feeling a deep sense of grief. He reflects on the encouraging words of the soldiers, who had told him he could pass the military test and become a great general destined to save the nation. The girl's death serves as a powerful motivation for Sun-shin. Inside, as the soldiers examine the nuclear weapon, Dr. Kim notices the timer has dropped from 10 to 5 minutes since they stole it. This means they have actually been there for 5 days, as 1 minute in their time equals 1 day in the era they are currently in. Using the nuclear weapon, they can accurately calculate the timing and location of the comet's passing. The next morning, the soldiers hold a funeral for the peasant girl. Sun-shin arrives with the villagers and pleads with the soldiers to help them fight against the Jurchen. At first, the soldiers refuse, but after hearing the villagers' struggles and Sun-shin's passionate plea, they agree to support them. They begin training the villagers for battle, while Sun-shin prepares a map to outline their strategy. He briefs the soldiers on his plan to defeat the enemy, even though they are outnumbered. Meanwhile, Dr. Kim works diligently to decode the comet's movement. She soon realizes that the comet is traveling faster than expected and informs her team that it will arrive tomorrow. She stresses the urgency of the situation, warning them that if they miss the comet, they could be stuck there forever. At the same time, the Jurchen are also getting ready to attack the village. After Dr. Kim's announcement, Major Kang instructs Major Park to take the nuclear weapon and his men back home. He knows that he will face a death sentence for stealing the nuclear weapon upon their return. Before departing, Major Park gifts Sun-shin a horse, giving him a chance to escape the battle. He also informs Sun-shin that his team is going back to their own time. Despite his efforts to persuade Sun-shin to return to his village, it does not work. As Major Park and the other soldiers prepare to leave, a sense of duty and teamwork begins to stir among them. One by one, they choose to stay behind and join the fight, leaving Dr. Kim to return to the present alone. Sun-shin also joins the heavenly soldiers and the villagers in their fight against the Jurchen. After a long and brutal battle, the invaders are finally defeated. However, among the modern soldiers, only Major Park and Sergeant Choi, one member of Major Kang's team, survive, along with Sun-shin. On the other side, as the invaders attempt to attack Dr. Kim, the comet opens the time rift, allowing her to return to the present with the nuclear weapon. In the conference hall, she shares their experiences with the generals. Despite her passionate appeals to honor the sacrifices made by the soldiers to protect their country, her superiors decide to hand over the nuclear weapon in an effort to maintain peace. Dr. Kim later visits a local memorial dedicated to the revered Admiral Yi. This special place pays tribute to a great leader and reminds her of the sacrifices made for the country. The film concludes with a scene depicting the historic Battle of Myeongyang Strait, where General Sun-shin commands just 13 Korean ships against a strong Japanese fleet of 33 vessels. On his flagship, Sun-shin stands firm, ready to lead his men into battle. With Major Park and Sergeant Choi as his staff officers, he gives the command to charge, embodying the spirit of courage and determination that defines their struggle. This powerful moment highlights their dedication to defending their homeland and creates a lasting legacy against great odds.